Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to NC3T's Brown Bag Webinar Series. My name is Kathy Schick. I'm from the National Center for College and Career Transitions, or NC3T, which we dare you to say 3 times fast, and I will facilitate today's session. Today's webinar I'm very excited about. It focuses on logistics. But before I do get to our wonderful speakers, a little bit of background on NC3T. We are a mission-driven organization that delivers technical assistance, coaching, and consulting services to state departments of education, individual school districts, post-secondary institutions. We also offer resources, written resources, in addition to coaching and technical support. Some of these are on the screen right now. You can visit our website, nc3t.com, to purchase any of those. Our framework is the Pathway System Framework, and this is what we use with our clients to help them develop a robust and sustainable pathway system, not just individual career pathways. You'll see that we have 5 components that all pull together to develop career and life-ready learners. Today's focus, or today's session, logistics, is a focus on the Pathways Program of Study component. Some of our other workshop or webinars focus on the other components. I am very excited to introduce our first presenter because Vicki is a former colleague of mine. Ms. Vicki Phillips is from Eastern Pennsylvania. She is an instructor of supply chain management and logistics technology at Lehigh Career and Technical Institute, which is the largest career and tech center in the state of Pennsylvania. Vicki is in her 8th year of teaching and brings 25 years of industry experience to her program. Among her many credentials, Vicki is a train-the-trainer certified logistics associate and a certified logistics technician. She has a CDL-B license and teaches transportation technology utilizing a state-of-the-art truck driving simulator. She has written worksheets and tests for the textbook Foundationals of Warehousing and Distribution, Volumes 2 and 3. Vicki is also an active DECA advisor and a volunteer for Junior Achievement. Vicki has a wonderful program at LCTI, and Vicki, I'm so glad you could be here today to tell us about it. So welcome, Vicki.
Thank you, Kathy. I've been asked to tell you what LCTI does because, like Kathy said, we are one of the largest career and technical schools in the nation, and we are the largest technical school in Pennsylvania. We are a little different from the other career and technical schools because we take a regional approach, which is that we serve 9 sending individual school districts. And then each school district has a representative on our board in the Joint Operating Committee. LCTI is a career and technical education campus for high school as well as adult education. We offer over 50 career and technical programs, and we serve 3,000 high school students that are sent from our 9 sending school districts. And we also serve 1,400 adult students each year. We offer 70 industry certifications, and each certification comes with a different exit outcome. Next, please. Today I'd like to share information with you about our supply chain management and logistics technology program and how it has developed over time to become the program that it is today. LCTI's Supply Chain Management and Logistics Technology Program is a working distribution center that offers a real-world, hands-on experience for our students. We have a 17,000 square foot distribution center, a 5,000 square foot transportation center, plus we have a 1-acre CDL driving range. And as I will show you today, we have a lot to offer our students. But as I show you all this, I want you to keep in mind that this has taken 45 years to get to where we are today. Next, please. I'd like to give you a quick history lesson about LCTI. In 1971, Lehigh County Vocational Technical School, which is our former name, had a small warehousing program back in the back hallway of the school. In 1999, a feasibility study was done, and a concept was developed for a distribution center, and plans were made to renovate the entire school. Between 2000 and 2002, planning of the LCTI Distribution Center was done, and we teamed up with UPS to create a partnership to work together to create a new distribution center. The new distribution center would supply all of the 9 sending school districts, our intermediate unit, and all the labs at LCTI. In 2006, the new distribution center was done and it was opened. And later in 2008, the Logistics Transportation Center opened, designed to round out the material handling program's curriculum with delivery services from the distribution center. The material handling program and the transportation program were later combined, and recently our name has been upgraded to the Supply Chain Management and Logistics Technology program, bringing us up to date with the program that we have today. So, as you can see, it really has been a long time in the making. Next, please. Our students at LCTI are very fortunate to be able to learn supply chain management in a state-of-the-art facility. Our program offers real functioning distribution center with real customers. Along with that come real orders, real delivery, real receiving, and they all get delivered to our customers, our 9 sending school districts, by our students. We serve 96 school buildings in the Lehigh Valley, but more impressive, our students serve over 2,500 individual customers, all while gaining a hands-on education. Next, please. Our distribution center replicates many of the functions found in industry that are really the foundations of logistics, giving our students the building blocks needed to prepare them for industry. We've been very fortunate to have a devoted industry buy-in as well as a great grant writer, which has made us able to supply our students with this amazing facility. We have 11 different types of forklifts, different types of racking, and storage to accommodate the forklifts, numerous learning stations that teach skills like picking, packing, shipping, and we also offer a lot of different technology like a warehouse management system and RF technology. And like Kathy said when we started, we also have a state-of-the-art driving simulator. That way our students can learn how to drive CDLB trucks in a safe environment. They're not out on the road driving where it's dangerous. Our students are very fortunate, but it really is more about instruction rather than production. So with each piece of equipment that we have, it brings that hands-on experience as well as classroom instruction with you know, a theory lesson and totally integrated with literacy and math. Next, please. So how does a school go about turning a program from a back hallway into a thriving distribution center? How can a school get started doing this in their own region? Well, I kind of asked the same question. I've only been with this school district for 8 years, so I had to go and interview a lot of the people here to find out how it was done. One thing I heard repeatedly was that in most schools, most school districts, the logistics of how supplies get to the school really goes unnoticed. That out of sight kind of equals out of mind, and most schools just accept the inefficiencies as part of business. So getting the supplies that a school needs to function is often left up to the gym teacher or to the transportation director just because they have the room or the transportation resources, and the logistics is often mismanaged. And this applies to purchasing the supplies as well. So the advice that I heard was to survey what you have, identify the problems within the supply chain, and basically just don't accept those inefficiencies. What schools need to do is really to create some supply chain management and have more control over their practices. Next, please. If you recall in my earlier timeline, back in 2000, LCTI did just that. We evaluated what we had and what our sending school districts were doing as well. At the time, each of the 9 sending school districts had their own way of obtaining supplies, from cleaning agents to Band-Aids and pencils, and each school purchased from a different vendor, and each school did their own warehousing and logistics. So the 9 sending school districts and LCTI created a consortium, and the goal of the new LCTI Distribution Center was to provide some supply chain management for the Lehigh County schools. In addition to some management, the DC would also provide a reduced facility and manpower demand, cost savings, operational efficiencies, as well as provide a state-of-the-art learning facility teaching logistics to our high school and adult students. So LCTI went to the experts. We teamed up with UPS to build a first-rate program. UPS offered their expertise. They also gave us some grant money to help build the facility. Next, please. Our stakeholders in the new program was part of a consortium. They created a joint purchasing board, and the purpose of the joint purchasing board was to eliminate some of those operational inefficiencies that I've been talking about and take control over our purchasing. So instead of each school purchasing supplies on their own, the joint purchasing board would power buy for all the schools in large quantities and at large discounts, saving everybody money. The joint purchasing board stakeholders from our 9 sending school districts include such groups as athletic directors, school nurses, art departments, custodial staff, maintenance department, general office, and as well as every teacher who is within the 9 sending school districts. So representatives from each school district determine what products are going to be offered. And just so you're aware of the scope of this, LCTI has available over 8,000 products in our ordering process, and we also assist all the schools with their bidding process. Next, please. All the products are available through an online purchasing and approval system called eSchoolMall, helping administrators eliminate some of those inefficiencies and freeing up time that they would have spent signing requisitions. You simply create a chain of approval, what monetary limits you want to set, and the system regulates it for you. Next, please. Your teachers, your custodians, and administrators can all access what they need right from their desktops, and all purchased from approved vendors. And so there again, you're creating another efficiency. If everybody's purchasing from the same vendor, you know, you're not doing favorites for your brother-in-law or a vendor who you liked from your past or whatever. And the best part is that companies will pay you just to be on your drop-down vendor list. Office Depot is the highlighted one here, and they will pay us so that we can have a dynamic link set up straight to go to their web page. So where do you get the funds to accomplish this kind of program? Well, those efficiencies that I've been talking about creating really pay for themselves. Efficiencies equal money, power buying equals savings, equals money back to the schools. You just have to know what your customer demands are, write good specs, and have accountability built into the system. I also suggest that you hire a technical writer to take you through this phase. Next, please. When you have control over your purchases, the savings start adding up. Having the LCTI Distribution Center has created a cost saving of 20 to 24% savings for each school. That's from when they used to purchase it on their own to now doing the power buying using the LCTI Distribution Center. And on copy paper alone, there was a 42% savings in the first year. And we all know how much copy paper schools go through. Some functions that will add to your cost savings are that you can streamline your purchasing and have remote approval. You can incorporate strategies. You could do reverse bidding with vendors. Your man hours will be reduced because you're eliminating those small supply areas. And you can supply your school with supplies during the summer as well. Your storage areas will be reduced, and there'll be no more little distributions at all the sending school districts. The product gets delivered directly to the person who ordered it. Next, please. Another way you can create funds is to recoup the funds from other places. For example, this right height loading dock safety gate created an insurance savings and paid for itself within 1 year after installation. And this year, LCTI saved on electric by replacing our old warehouse lights with new LED lighting. And that's at 25 cents per light. This is another huge savings. Next, please. And most of all, don't forget who your experts are. Our electric company helped us to save on electric by switching out the lights and being more green. UPS helped set up our program, and FedEx has also helped with the logistics program. But your most important experts would be the members of your Occupational Advisory Committee. All are experts in the field of logistics and industry, so don't ask your OAC and industry for monetary donations. Ask them for their expertise and their time, and they will be more than willing to share with your program. And what you'll get out of this is that you'll have a top-rate program to educate all the schools in supply chain management, and you'd be able to put more back into education. Next, please. And more into education. It took LCTI's material handling program a long time to get to where it is today. Remember, it doesn't happen overnight, but a quality product, which is a well-educated logistics student, is well worth it. So be patient, build your program little by little. Students in the Material Handling Logistics Technology program at Lehigh Career and Technical Institute get a hands-on, real-world environment that prepares them for industry. And the technical skills that they learn here will definitely stay with them for life. In today's economy, our students are getting hired right out of high school at a better than minimum wage rate, and that's really education at its best when our students can get hired. That's all I have. Are there any questions?
Vicki, this is Kathy. I'm going to jump in. I have to give you a huge apology. I forgot to tell our audience, if you do have questions, you can type them in to the chat box, and what we will do is monitor those questions as our next, if they don't come in right now, monitor them as Jeff is speaking, our next speaker, and then we'll take a few minutes at the end for all of the questions. I want to say, Vicki,
Okay.
You did such a wonderful job presenting that, covering so many important elements of, the students and the education they get, but also the savings and the way in which the school has funded it. I do want to ask you just a quick question. Is it true, okay, this is what I heard when I was first hired at your school, and this was years ago, but someone told me that your classroom was listed in a record book somewhere because it's considered the largest classroom, public school classroom in the country. Is that true, or is that an urban legend at LCTI?
I had heard that as well, but I've never found any documentation proving it.
let's just perpetuate that urban legend.
I mean, it's 22,000 square feet. That's a pretty big classroom.
That is amazing. Thank you very much. I'm going to, I don't see any questions popping up yet, so I'm sure they'll come in. I know it takes time to process and to formulate your questions. So to the audience members, you have a little chat or little comment-looking speech bubble icon, and if you click on that, you can type in your questions, and Vicki will be hanging on, so we'll have time at the very end. Thank you, Vicki. That was really informative, even to me, who's been in your lab. Our second and our final presenter is Mr. Jeff Roe, and ironically, Jeff is at the complete other end of the country. Vicki and I are in Pennsylvania. Jeff is in Central California, and yet when I first contacted Jeff Roe, he suggested I also get this woman named Vicki Phillips from Pennsylvania on the call, and it was just the smallest world story. So Jeff and Vicki have had some professional networking opportunities together. So Jeff is joining us, as I said, from Central California. He is the Career and Technical Education Director for the Patterson Joint Unified School District in Patterson, California. He was hired not too long ago, in July 2015, to oversee the expansion of the district's existing supply chain and logistics career pathway program, as well as several career pathway programs in agriculture and ornamental horticulture. Patterson is located in California's Central Valley, the most productive agriculture region in the world, which makes me very jealous as we sit here anticipating a major snowstorm this weekend. It is also home to a growing logistics and distribution center hub with the likes of Amazon, CVS, Kohl's, Grainger, and Restoration Hardware having operations located there. Prior to joining Patterson Schools, Jeff had a 24-year career in workforce development. And again, making those of us in cold climates a little jealous, Jeff, his wife, and his grown children take advantage of the variety of outdoor activities that living in California's Central Valley offers. So welcome, Jeff. We're glad you could join us. And one of the reasons we're so glad you could join us at the same time that Vicki could is because whereas Vicki's giving us a background of a very well-established program, you're going to give us background on a program that's really just getting started but meeting with a lot of success early on. So welcome, Jeff. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, that's correct. We're relative novices compared to Vicki, but I'm hopeful that if there's those of you out there who are just thinking of starting a program, that our experience can be of benefit to you. So next slide, please. We really, and I'm not going to read the slides verbatim, but the impetus, as Kathy suggested, for us starting this program in Patterson was we are centrally located right in the middle of the state, and we are right on Interstate 5, which runs the length of the West Coast, and therefore is an ideal location for distribution centers. And some of the agricultural land became available, and we experienced these distribution centers deciding that this was a place for them to locate and be able to jump on the highway and go up and down the state and up and down the West Coast. So given that we were experiencing that, it just made sense that we develop a program to prepare our students to go to work in that industry. So we started out in 2009 and got a little seed money, $20,000 from the Central Valley Education Learning Leadership Institute, and then shortly thereafter received a grant from the Granger Foundation of $75,000 that got us started. And so, the question is, okay, you want to develop a program, and where do you start? A big plus for us is that we were made aware of the Material Handlers Institute, which is association, probably the largest association for material handling distribution centers and supply chain businesses in the country. And they actually had some curriculum that they had developed with the help of learning from people like Vicki and others around the country who had established programs. We tried to find programs in California that were in existence that we could model after, but we soon found out that there were none. We're probably actually the first in California. Since then, we've had several other school districts in California that have talked to us about starting programs. But it was really helpful to make the connection with the Material Handlers Institute. We adopted their curriculum and, based on their recommendations, started to pay visits to other areas across the country, other programs across the country, to see what we could learn from them and getting started. We didn't wait to actually get started. I think kind of our process was, and it seemed to work, was if you start to build it, students will come, partners will come, and the program will start to develop kind of on its own. So, and that seems to have worked. So we did in 2013. We traveled and we visited Vicki's program. We visited other programs on the East Coast. We went to an institute, the Material Handlers Institute. Every summer has a educators summit, and they have a separate division that just supports educational institutions, both high school and college institutions that have material handling, supply chain logistics programs, which is great. So they have a summit every summer in a different location, and it's solely focused on helping educators get their programs either up and running or build them and support them. So we attended their program and their summit in 2013. There's a couple of trade shows that are really good that I would recommend that you visit if you're just getting started. One is called ProMat and the other is Modex, and they alternate every other year. There's the ProMat. One year there'll be the ProMat trade show, and the next year will be Modex. This year it's Modex in Atlanta. And the neat thing about those is that MHI actually works with those trade shows and puts on educators programs and programs for you can actually bring students to those trade shows, and they set aside a whole day and a half and put a program together just for your students. So that's a really neat opportunity. Next slide. We also, a couple years ago when we were at the ProMat show in Atlanta, we took the opportunity to visit Georgia Tech, which has a really robust program there at the university. Learned a lot from them. Then the next step in the process was, well, what kind of qualifications or certifications will our students, can we provide to our students that are going to make them employable? Because that's really was the main reason for us starting this program, was that we have the industry right in our backyard. They actually were having somewhat of a difficult time finding qualified employees, so we really wanted to be not only develop a workforce that supported the industry, but obviously it goes both ways, and that we also provide our students with training and education that will help them go right to work. So there's a few different certifications out there that are available. There's one through MSSC, which is the Manufacturer Skills Standards Council, and they offer a Certified Logistics Associate certification and a Certified Logistics Technician certification. There's also other certifications. There's one through an organization called APICS. We landed on the MSSC cert mainly because there was some recognition of MSSC within the manufacturing industry in our area, and so we wanted to hopefully tie into that and offer a certification that was recognized by our logistics industry locally. And I have to say that on the West Coast, the logistics businesses are not really bought into the certifications, mainly because they weren't aware of them. But as we started offering the certification as part of our curriculum, they become aware of it, and they actually recognize the value of it, and they look for it when they're looking at hiring people. So fortunately, kind of the timing of this for us worked out really well in that the state of California, during the recession, deciding that career technical education was not as valuable as some of the other educational needs, and really dropping a lot of funding for CTE, and dropping, therefore resulting in school districts dropping their CTE and what we called ROP programs. The state has recently come to the realization that CTE is very important, and that the state of California needs a workforce that has been trained in technical careers, and the funding has started to come back. So we were real fortunate, and we were able to be a part of a regional $1.7 million grant from the state, and actually have just submitted another grant application that we hope to hear back from soon, which has allowed us to really build our program. So again, I'll go back to kind of do you start a program and hope that the industry supports it and recognizes it and hires your students, or do you start incrementally, or do you build the program completely out and then hope that the students in the industry are going to come? So we started slowly. we were able to develop a really nice advisory committee, and we have members of those committees that allow our students to go on tours of their distribution centers. They have provided internship opportunities for our students, job shadowing opportunities, and they come into the classroom and speak to the students whenever we ask. They've been really great. Next slide. This is just a few pictures of showing our progress through this. In the top corner, top left-hand corner, you see our students at the local Amazon distribution center after a tour. There's some photos of our staff visiting the programs in Pennsylvania, and that's probably Vicki's warehouse down there on the bottom. And a few pictures of our new training facility and our students doing some sorting of books. Next. So as we moved along, progressing through the development of our program, MHI last summer did make the decision to have us host their educational summit, their educator summit, which was a great opportunity for us to bring some folks from across the country here and learn from what they've been doing for a long time. We had actually over 30 folks from over 30 high schools and community colleges represented here this summer. I talked a little bit about the MSSC certification already, so we'll go on to the next slide. So as I was saying, as we started to build this program, we were really fortunate that the local industry came along and supported us from the very beginning. And right now we actually have Amazon that has committed to hiring 10 of our program graduates each year, which has been great. Several of the other distribution centers are in the process of putting together similar types of commitments with our students. And the other great thing about that support is that as we've started to build our program, our industry advisors have been really great about making donations, not monetary donations, but mainly equipment. In addition to the other support, we've received conveyors, we received all of our racking for our new facility, where it was donated by Granger, carts, packing equipment, all of that has been donated. That part's been awesome. We actually had the racks that were donated from Granger, and then we were looking for somebody to help us install the racks, put them up, and I made a few phone calls and talked to a guy from a contractor that does that kind of work, and he said, I'm so happy you called. I live in the community next door. I've been reading in the paper about the progress of your program, and he said, I'm come out and I'll design how the rack should go for you. I'll come out and we'll work with your students and we'll put them all together in a day and erect them. And he said, he came out, he said, oh, you're missing a few of the cross beams. My company will supply those to you, no charge, and we'll get this up and going for you. And sure enough, and within a week he was out and we had our racks all up. So I can't understate the importance of having really good industry partners. It's really benefited our program greatly. And then the other nice thing that's happened is that our local community college and our county office of education have come along board and have developed programs that provide career pathways for our students. So the community college has actually developed a global supply chain certificate program and an associate's degree program. The county office of education is developing a program to train youth and adults in the technician piece of logistics, which is basically working on the equipment and operating the equipment involved in the logistics industry. And then we have a California State University just 15 miles from here in Turlock, Cal State Stanislaus, and they are in the process of developing a program or modifying their business bachelor's degree in business administration program to include an emphasis on logistics. So it's really neat in that we're within our region. Students can go through our program. They can go right to work in one of our distribution centers. Many of our distribution centers offer tuition assistance for their employees who want to go on and continue their education. They can go that route, or they can go right from our program into the community college program. We're working on now having our program, some of our program count, and having our students be able to receive community college credits while they're taking our program in high school and get a little bit of head start when they start at the community college, and they can move right on up to a bachelor's degree with a concentration in logistics, all within the region. So that part has been great. Next. So again, I would suggest, if you're really serious about doing this, and that you don't necessarily have to start out with a full-blown facility with all the racks and equipment and lifts. You can start small. That's what we did. We actually started out using what was a breezeway at our high school. We put roll-up doors on either end of it, and you know, it was very low tech, but we started working with an organization called First Book, and they are a not-for-profit that takes publisher overstock of books and makes that overstock available to mainly low-income, disadvantaged families and kids. So they are using us as a distribution center for their overstock books. So we receive their pallets of their books, we sort and repack and distribute out to the folks in communities all across the western United States who receive, are the recipients of these books. So that's been a great opportunity for our students to actually get hands-on training and receiving a product, inventorying it, and taking orders, and processing those orders and distributing. So it's really moved us from mainly a paper and pencil type of a training program to an actual hands-on program. We also are, as Vicki is doing, we also are distributing the supplies for the school, all the schools in our district, and we plan in the future to actually have a kind of an operation where we take orders for school T-shirts, banners, that kind of a thing, and distribute those orders also. So that's our plans for the hands-on part of it.
Jeff, excuse me, this is Kathy. I'm going to have to ask you to just wrap up with your final thought, and then we're going to answer some questions.
Okay, I think I'm just about done. So I think that's the last slide.
Okay.
So yeah, that again, I guess my summary would be, for us, it really worked out just to go ahead and jump in and get started, even though we didn't feel like we were all the way there yet, and certainly by getting started, we got the support of the industry, and the students came, and our program was able to move on and develop very quickly that way.
Thank you, Jeff, and I know you've gotten some good press too, because I've seen some articles. Thank you. That was a great presentation, as we knew it would be, about more of a starting point. I'm going to ask both of you, I have some questions here, and I'm going to ask if you will just give, in the interest of time, the most brief reply, and then our audience members are welcome, if they have further questions, to reach out to us, and we will put you in touch with Jeff or Vicki. It seems, Vicki, that one of the questions that's come up for you from a few people is, who created and Jeff, if you have anything to share too, who created the supply chain curriculum? And are there, I know Jeff spoke with this, but Vicki, are there nationally recognized certifications that assist students for employment? So those two quick questions.
Okay. The curriculum, first of all, we have a statewide curriculum that we have to follow, which is giving us a list of topics that we would cover. And then the written curriculum, which we use as learning guides, UPS helped us to create those, as well as the instructors had created some of the curriculum. The certificates, Jeff pretty much covered most of them. There is from ASTL, which is the American Society of Transportation and Logistics. They do offer the Global Logistics Associate certification. Here at LCTI, we do NOCTI testing, which gives them a certificate showing that they are, proficient in this field. So, but yeah, Jeff covered pretty many of them.
Do either of you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just had one comment real quick. Jeff had mentioned that they hosted the MHI Summit, and just if anybody's interested, LCTI is hosting it this year. So if you're interested, contact MHI, and you could come out and actually see the facility.
That's wonderful. Oh, they'd love to see your facility. Okay, and why did Patterson Joint Unified not choose APICS?
Mainly because our local industry was more aware of the MSSC certificate, so we wanted to offer something where when our students graduated and had the certificate in hand, that a certificate that would more likely be recognized by industry when they were going to look for employment.
Okay, and Jeff, one quick question for you. Is Jeff related to Mike Roe?
No, but I get that a lot, and,
right,
and that's one of my favorite shows.
Someone else asked,
Yeah,
I would take advantage of that. And someone asked if they could show this presentation to their superintendent. Yes, everybody will be sent a link of this recording along with some questions that we'd like you to answer to help us keep improving. And are there any prerequisites to either of your programs?
Not ours, no.
Okay.
You just have to go to one of our sending school districts.
All right. And I think, okay, one last question. What WMS do you utilize?
Well, we have a warehouse management system that was built for us. It's from CISS. I believe, Jeff, you also use that, correct?
That's correct. We use the CISS program, which works very well for an educational setting.
Yeah, when we first got it, we had it designed to suit what we needed in our warehouse and to teach the students what they needed to know. So when they built it, they truly built it around the student, having the student in mind. Again, at the MHI Summit this summer, we will have somebody speaking about the warehouse management system.
And Vicki, here's a quick last question. Is the curriculum available to be shared?
I do share a lot of the worksheets. My learning guides are not shareable as per LCTI. They like to keep it pretty close. But we do share a lot of information. Certainly if you ask me for something, I will see what I can get you. Okay. We're like that. We like to share something.
And we are going to wrap up. There are two last questions we're just not going to get to. One is from a school in Arkansas who asked about a textbook, and I'm going to suggest that they contact us and we'll put them in touch with you. I want to thank both of our presenters. You both did a wonderful job, gave a lot of great information, which is very, very difficult to do in such a short time period. So I thank you for all the work you put into the presentation you did today. For our audience members, you will be receiving an email from us with the link to this recorded webinar along with a quick survey of a few questions to help us keep improving. So please do consider filling that out. we have another webinar that will be Pathways Policy Update, and that is coming on February 17th. And you will receive, if you received this information through our newsletter, you will receive that again. So we thank you all for joining us, especially to our speakers. I'm sorry we went 2 minutes late. Take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you in February.